Hi guys. Hi. Just gonna wait a minute. I know there's a lot of people that wanted to jump in on this. I have been having some trouble with the Facebook comment section on lives. I don't know what they're doing. So can somebody just like say something? And I just want to check because I might have to come in another way. I did this last time and I went live through the event and it did not let me see anybody. Oh, hey. Okay, good. Good. All right. Hi, Ashley. Hi. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Kim. I'm so excited to be here. Oh my gosh. What a great group. I love it here. I've been actually kind of like a silent member for about 6 months, I guess. And I just I loved, I guess, you know, they say first impressions are everything when you're joining a group. And some groups you jump in on and, you know, it's all drama. And then there's all those seemingly really nice people. And then there was this group and I actually just joined the group and Lindsay was live and, you know, she's just swearing and she's, you know, calling everybody bitches and stuff. And I was like, that's the group for me. I so love this group already. And I've been a member of like a whole bunch of different ones. And I've left, like, I want to probably say like the majority of the groups that I was in because it's just drama and I can't stand it. So I love to teach. So a little bit about me is I've been an epoxy artist for about 8 years. Cups are pretty new to me. I want to say like maybe a year and a half or so. But I love color and I love complicated things. And I love to teach. And that's really my number one passion is teaching. And kind of taking something that's really complicated and changing it up so that it isn't so complicated and it becomes easier for people to do. So that's one of the things that I like to do when I'm teaching any kind of methods with art is how do you do it and how do you like make it work and so that it's not blowing your brain up and it's not really complicated. And that's really what I love to do. So geode cups are, yes, they are actually. Is it? I'm not sure how to say your name actually. Is it Michelle? I'm sorry if I said it wrong. I'm kind of terrible with pronunciations. It's really pretty though. So sometime you'll have to go live and say your name so that I'll know how to say it. But I do see your comments. Yes, I have a whole bunch of people on. This is awesome. Geode cups are like one of my, I want to say top 5 favorites. And there's good ways to do them and bad ways to do them. And the biggest thing that people say, Michelle, okay, cool. It's just such a unique spelling. I love it. So there's easy ways and hard ways to do these. I want to go with the easy way. The biggest complaint that I hear from people saying when they're doing the cups, doing a geode cup is it ends up looking like lady parts. And it's true. It's just true. It is what it is. And there's things that you can do to lessen that effect. If that's not the effect that you're going for, first of all is color, the colors that you're using. If you're going to throw pink into a geode, chances are you're going to get a comment where somebody says, hey, that looks like lady parts. And it just is. Also, shape is very important too. And I'm a rock hound. I love crystals. I love stones. I collect a lot of them and I love geology. And so when you're looking at formations and the way that they form, particularly when you're coming off of cups and you're actually doing epoxy work, to get an actual thing that looks like a geode, you want to stick with some shape, some different shapes. So the more oval something becomes, the more it tends to look like lady parts. The smoother the lines. So to come away from all of that, put a little bit of edging and a little bit of roughness as you go. Some people are very good freeform, where they'll just take their glue and they put it down and they just slap their glitter on and it looks amazing. Hola, Sandra. Hi. Other people want to form an idea in their head. And I've always suggested to people, get a plan, get a plan, pick out your colors, decide where you want to go, but don't be married to it. Don't say, I have to only use these certain colors that you've already picked out of your glitter stash. Because sometimes when you're putting it down, it just doesn't want to work. Like when I did this one, I really, really, really wanted a different color in this section here. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working for me. So I ended up mixing something, which is another really wonderful option is you have a bunch of glitters if you're not getting the effect that you want to, because this section, this big section here in the front, is usually a chunky of some kind, just to give it some texture. And you can also use it in a couple of other places as well. Chunky, as you know, is kind of like the devil. It's got a lot of problems. Hi, Amber. Thanks for joining, everybody. So you really want to take some care to make sure you kind of squish it down, and I'll cover all of that with you guys. So again, this is my first tutorial as part of this group. I'm super excited, and I have like 10 more things that I want to show you all that's a little bit different than what some of the other ladies are doing. Like I love to do stained glass. I love to do that technique. I'm big into the tangram. Like that's like my new crazy favorite thing. But I think my absolute favorite thing to do is 3D tumblers. So, where you're talking about doing clay work on top of it. And I'll just show off a couple of the pieces that I'm working on. So I have a gnome, my Viking gnome, who's coming along. And then the other one that I just started was spring is coming and we all need fairies. So this is going to be a fairy door tumbler. And we actually want to do this one in the group with everybody probably next month. So that is if y'all want me back. I don't know. Okay, so when you are going to start your geode, usually I suggest, grab 5 coordinating glitters. So for today, I actually got a request for a purple-ish type geode. And I don't honestly have a ton of purples, believe it or not. Believe it or not, it's one of the few colors that I do not have a lot of. I have some, but I don't have a lot in varying shades. And I also, for some reason, have no blue. So I hope Lindsay gets in some sapphire blue because I am desperate need of sapphire blue glitter. This technique will work on any cup. Now that's one of the nice things about the Geode Tumbler. If you have a skinny, you can do a skinny. If you have a mug, you can do a mug. If whatever, water bottle, anything at all, it will work, and it will work beautifully as long as you stick to a few of the rules. Cups are a little bit wonky, just because you got that handle on the side. So unless you're really super coordinated, you don't want to try and be bringing a geode in through underneath the handle, but it can be done. And if you have questions about that, if you absolutely want to do it that way, let me know. I'm happy to work with people individually too. TT's glitters Can you send me the link for that, Brittany? I do want to try and get more Telebox glitters, because I just really like, I have some of her glitter and I really like it. It seems to be almost like a better quality glitter than some of the other glitters that I've gotten, if that makes sense. And you know, for this style, I have a mishmash of glitters from a whole bunch of different glitter companies, and that's what I'm going to go with. All right, so down to business. What do you need in order to be able to do this? This is actually one of the most simple cups to do. You need maybe 4 or 5 glitters for your geode itself, your geode formation, and then you want to have something to kind of fill in the other areas. So I actually took on this one, I actually decided that I want to break it up. So what I did was I just taped this off after I formed my geode. This one does kind of look like lady parts. I came up too sharp in this area here, so we want to kind of widen it out next time. And I just sort of changed it up a little bit. These lines, you see these paint pen lines and the finishing after you get your epoxy on, that's an optional step. You do not have to do that. So if you don't have paint pens, don't worry about it. You can do it. Sometimes I really like the way they look, and other times I really don't like the way they look. So this one here is almost the same, except I didn't do they're the same exact colors. I did not do the extra line, so you can kind of get a visual on how that looks between the two. This has those finishing lines. I used a gold. I did use a bronze in here, and then I used a kind of a silver just to make the whole thing pop. You can see it better on here, I think. Maybe if I pull it back a little bit, you can see. I'm still working on getting my live camera thing going. It's kind of, I've got it propped up. So if I knock you over, I apologize. But this one, you can see, I just finished sanding this one. It really is very nice without those lines. So that's optional. Thank you. Yeah, I love these colors too. These are just, they're so earthy. This section here is actually that, all right, I know it's branded as cheat glitter, but it's the glitter that you can put down and then put alcohol ink over, and it actually changes the color of it. And I think that there's one company that's branded the name Cheat Glitter, so I don't know what other people are calling it. And it works super awesome, particularly if you're limited on colors and you have a whole lot of alcohol inks. You can do an entire geode cup with nothing but your alcohol inks and that cheater style glitter. Works super, super awesome. So there's just some ideas. Okay, so what do you need in order to do it? You need your colors for your geode and a tumbler. Now it is a paint on situation with your glue, so I like Mod Podge. I know some people like the Tack It. Either of these work. Either one, whatever floats your boat, no problem. You know, personal choice. One is not better than the other in regards to this technique. So I generally just do Mod Podge because it's cheap. That, you know, like the quart thing of it is like, I think it's like $9 on Amazon. You can go to Michael's or Joann Fabrics or Hobby Lobby or whatever, use a coupon, get it for less. You know, this stuff, the cheapest that I've found, this tack, it is like $6. So it's more expensive. And, you know, let's face it, when we're doing this for profit and we're trying to make money, we want to cut and save money wherever we can. So You're not going to see this. It isn't something that anybody's actually ever going to see the glue part of it, and it will hold perfectly well. So that's my personal choice. I prefer the gloss luster to the matte because I'll also seal my cup with this. I'll dilute it 50-50 and actually seal all my glitter with it, which saves me from having to go outside in the freezing cold because I'm here in Massachusetts and try and spray, because I won't do it in the house because of my pets. Okay. I am a prep person. I do like to sand and paint my cup. You can use acrylic or you can spray paint, whatever works for you. I like the base color closest to kind of what my main color is going to be on my cup. And it just kind of helps fill things in. Like you can see on the black one here, it actually looks like really good. That's just one coat of glitter on that because I sprayed and did the whole thing black. I'm not big on these cups on actually painting, you know, individual sections. That's a complete personal choice. You can do it if you want to. You don't have to. All right, so down to it. So I have some glue. I have some glitters. I'm going to do a kind of a purple. It'll be very dark. I'm going to do a purple-ish kind of thing, and then offset it with some golds. And I'll get, you know, you started here. I hope that you enjoy. All right, so I like these paint pens a lot because they actually go on super easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of going to get a feel for, first of all, how big. So normally you would do one on one side going from the top to the middle or down, and then you can do the other side. I've actually seen some and done some where I kind of wrap it around. For this one, they specifically wanted something where there's a big name going on, so it'll be more this style, because the name of the person can actually go right through this area without interfering. No problem. I'm big in giving information and the easy ways to get things and do things. And, you know, like I said, now my way may not be your way, and that's okay. Like I always say, don't be afraid to try something new, you know? Like if you've never done one of these before, and give it a shot. What's the worst that's going to happen? You won't know till you try. And you really want to try all the things. So what I'm just kind of doing is I'm just kind of giving myself an idea of where I want to go with my geode. Now, my central area, so this will be, these lines, this is a little bit big for a center. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to kind of come down and give myself just kind of, I like to have a very prominent section with that chunky glitter. And then I'm not going to worry about doing every single line. I'm just kind of eyeballing and giving myself a sense of, well, how big do I actually want this geode to be? And that's all you're going to need. Now, what I'm going to end up doing here, now I'm not going to have one section that's this great big huge section. I'm actually going to split it up into a couple. I'll probably put a really thin line in here and then maybe bring some up into, you know, almost like in this area here. And do something a little different in there on this side. And then that leaves us with our other side. And the other side, I like to go from the top down. And again, you don't have to. This is called a Posca paint pen. Comes in a billion different colors. Like you can buy packs of these on Amazon, which is cheaper getting them off of Amazon than getting them in like one of the craft shops, unless you're using like a really good coupon, because they can be. I just actually saw an advertisement for these same pens, and I couldn't believe how much they were charging for them, and it was through one of the major craft shops. So, you know, kind of look around. It's just Posca. They come in, you know, like the whole rainbow. Plus, they have a silver and a gold, and the silver and the gold you can usually get in a pack together. They also have a black and a white, and those you can actually buy multiples of, and they're really reasonable. So I really love them, and they're like one of my favorites. So now my second side, I'm just going to kind of give myself an idea of like, what do I want? I don't want this one to come down quite so far. So I'm just going to kind of give myself a little, you know, just a little guideline. That's it. That's all you got to do. Just guidelines. It doesn't look like much now. It looks like a hot mess, right? But as you get that glitter on and you start to embellish the cup, it really comes to life, and they're just so awesome. This is definitely one of my top favorites. And that's all we need as far as that goes. All right, so your next step is going to be grab yourself some cheapo paintbrushes. I like cheapo paintbrushes. I buy packs of cheapo paintbrushes, not like the kid ones. Although I suppose those would the bristles have a tendency to come out with a lot of glue being used. So I just kind of get these. I got like a pack of 60 of them for, I think it was like $9, something like that. So it's totally worth. And I'll use them over and over and over again. They'll get all wonky, and then once they're done, you just chuck them out, get rid of it. So it's super. I'll leave the background for last, and work strictly on the geode. I start at the top here, and then in the center or the bottom, because the chunky glitter has a tendency to take a little longer for some reason to dry. So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to lay it down. And I've got a couple of different ones. I have a real chunky kind of thing going on here. I do have some, like, I try to stay away from like using big solids in there, like you know, big chunky golds, things like that in that center area, because I just want this to kind of have a natural look to it. I'm not going to dilute my Mod Podge at all. And you do want to put this on a little bit on the thick side when you're putting it on, because you don't want to have to keep coming in and redoing layers, because you want to be able to move along. So again, remember, you're not married to this design unless you really want to be, and you're just using this as a guide to kind of give you some structure on how your geode is going to form. These are super fun to do. This is actually something that you could do with the kids, because the epoxy is just the very final part. So that can be fun for the kids too. I try to find some things that the kids can participate in. I mean, us adults, we can't have all the fun, right? All right. I do keep a cup of water, and I just put my brushes into that normally when in between, just because Mod Podge, you know, dries up super fast. Get yourself a piece of like parchment paper or paper plate, something like that, to glitter on top of, just so you're not wasting your glitter. And that is so not going to work. Get this this off here. If I go too slow, too fast, please let me know. I want to, you know, everybody works at their own pace, so I want to be sure that I'm getting all the questions if anybody has any. But I also don't want to bore you all to death. And again, I won't finish this here online. I just want to get you all started so that you can have a general idea and do this yourself. Now, at this point, you can optionally do the other side at the same time. You know, it's kind of like paint by numbers where you want to fill in all the same colors at the same time. The one downside to that is you're going to be handling the cup. Unless you're one of those super awesome coordinated people who can like hold the cup on the turner rod at the same time when they're working, which is not me. I am not that person. I tried. I usually end up dropping the cup, and that of course is always bad. Okay, so again, it's a fairly thick coat of the Mod Podge on there. I don't worry about streaks and stuff like that. This is not fine glitter. This is chunky glitter, so it isn't going to show up on here. And we're just going to sprinkle liberally. This is kind of a chunky medium mix, I think you would call this. This is really pretty. I like this. It covers really good. And then what I'll do is I'll grab a dry brush, and I'm actually going to kind of push in whatever kind of really went way far over my lines. I hate wasting glitter, so I always try to kind of make it Oh, I'm so glad, Brittany. I'm so glad this is helping you. And I'm always available. You know, a lot of people are kind of, you know, they're sensitive to people reaching out. I love to teach. I want to help you succeed. That's my, I don't know. It's just part of what I like to do. It makes me really happy. And I love it when people post pictures after I do a tutorial of how awesome their stuff is. Okay, so you guys get that idea? It's just, and that's enough chunky, like I said. Now, the thing I like about this particular one is while it will give the appearance of being chunky, I'm not going to have that same issue when I put my epoxy on, that it's like poking up. And that's the other reason that I love to seal. And this is personal choice. I love to seal my glitter with my Mod Podge because when I'm doing it, what I'll do is, and I don't seal each and every color at the same, you know, like as I go along. I'll do it all at once. I'll take wax paper or parchment paper and I'll actually put it on the cup, put it down, and then kind of mish it all. I'm big into the words like mish, squish, moosh, all that stuff. Really pack it down because the Mod Podge dries so quickly that it will actually let you adhere it and make sure that those things are flat so that you don't end up having to sand things, you know, an inch of your life. Blah. I'm good at talking. Okay, so if you have any little pokey out bits, just kind of hit them with your finger and press them down. This is like really the only section that's going to have this, unless we're going to, I actually do have a really chunky, I want to use some of this on here. So I think I'm going to actually put this into that bigger section here because I love this glitter. I just got it. Oh, I just used my new brush. Oh, well. I love this glitter. I had to have it just because of the name. And it's called Unfortunate Souls. So. All right. This I'm going to put on a little bit thicker than the other because this is like, I don't know, they call it an ultra chunky or something. It really is big. Alrighty. I got wicked lucky, I think. I just got really, really, really lucky. And I've had it for a while. Oh, wow, this is like awesome. Again, don't be afraid to get in there. I know some people don't like to touch things with their hands, but you're an artist. Don't be afraid of it. Isn't that amazing? I love it. It's really this great, like, holographic color shift. It's kind of blue and green and purple all at the same time. It is just like amazing. So I've been dying to use it. Now you can actually do these in sections too, which is really cool. So you would be able to walk away from this, go make dinner, go get the kids at school, go do whatever, and it's not going to hurt the cup. It's not like trying to work with alcohol ink and stuff like that. That's all time sensitive. These are great for busy folks who have a lot going on, because you can just do it at your own pace. Okay, so I might throw some in the top one too. I'm not really positive. All right, so I have a really light, oh yeah, you can't see over there, can you? This is light. So this is sort of a gold, and it's got a little tiny, like really super pale purple. It's like a pale purpley pink color, and it almost bridges on like a diamond effect, which I really liked. So that center geode is really going to be amazing. So now I'm going to grab some other colors, and I've got a couple of purples. I think I'm going to probably go with this. I also got this like weird chunky, it reminds me of salt crystals, and I can't remember where I got this one, because I reuse my jars. I ended up having to switch off. I broke one of my lids. I switched it off, and when I switched it off, I forgot to change my my label. And I love these medicine cups. It'll let me control the amount that I'm pouring out, so that I'm not making a big mess, which I have a tendency to do. So I don't want to put this one. This is a little bit on the chunky. This is like, it's bigger. I want to say like this is a medium grade glitter. I don't want to put this right next to this, because what it's going to happen is it's not going to give me that definition of line. So I actually want to come in here with something that's nice and fine. And it doesn't matter. You can do gold, you can do purple, whatever color is your secondary color. Just kind of give yourself a minute to think about what it is that you want to do and the look that you're going for. Like I said, the beauty of these, no right, no wrong. You can change your mind in the middle of things and say, no, you know what, I don't like that. I want to do it this way. Do it. Don't stay married to an idea, because we're artists. Yeah, we're moms, and we're business women and businessmen too. I think there's some men here in the group. But above all, we are artists. And as artists, we have the right to change our minds and do whatever we want to do within the parameters of what our customer tells us that they want. Courtney, it's just Mod Podge. You can use Tack It over and over if you want. Whatever makes your heart happy. No right and no wrong in this. Personally, I like, you know what, I think I'm going to use this other stuff. I got this pretty glitter here. And I think I'm going to use this, because this follows along with that purple line. It's kind of a mulberry. I think it'll look nice up against the other one. All right, and then this, the best part, right? You get to pour it on. Now, as I was talking, you know, you think I'm just talking, but actually what I'm doing is I'm letting that first set of glue in the first section have up just a minute to kind of bond and not be so sticky, because I don't want this really going into that area. A little bit's okay, because that would be natural in nature. Now again, if you want to do the same exact thing, like, okay, this one is first, and then I did the mulberry second. If you want to make your other side exactly, you know, like the colors flow the same way, you can do that. Or you can switch it up. Remember, in nature, there's no absolutes when it comes to geodes. So you can just change it up. Change it up if you want to. I think I'm going to actually kind of do this bigger line here. And you don't have to go along either, like start in the middle and you know, go step by step. You can do it whatever way you want to. Fill in is sometimes better, because you can take your prominent colors, your big colors that you really want to use, get them on, and then fill it in with secondary colors that complement. Make sure you're putting down a thick enough layer. That's why I always put like a paper underneath or something, because I don't want to waste all my glitter. And then just really put it on. Sometimes I'll tap it, sometimes I don't. Now the next, because I have a dark, you can put two darks together, but you do want them to kind of contrast or offset themselves, because if you have done the tangram, you'll notice in that if you put like two colors that are too close in saturation together, it's sort of, you lose it. It really gets lost, so you really can't tell. Actually, I could show you an example of what I'm talking about. Maybe, because I don't know where I put my cup. Oh, here it is. This is my practice cup. So, same thing. Do you see here, like these two blues? They're completely different in the jar. But when I put them close together in the cup, it's really not a hugely visible change. So with your geode, if that's the look that you want to go for, well, awesome. But most people want to see a definition in a color. So try to offset or go a few shades lighter. Not something that's like super, super close in saturation. Sometimes whites can work really good. I have yet to find like a super good, I have a ton of whites. And one that really gives me like good coverage without having to go over it like 8,000 times. I do like to have a second style brush, which I've lost. My other brush. Here it is. Because when you're getting into like finer detail and you want to come up and split rows, like, for example, up in here, I'm going to end up doing two colors between these two spots. and then probably one here, but I don't want to have like that great big brush and try to maneuver it. So I'll just grab like a thinner paintbrush. And this is one that I don't use for paint anymore. It kind of got destroyed. All right. So I'm going to come in here now and I'm going to go around that that layer of that really funky unfortunate souls that I did. Again, make sure you're putting on your coat thick enough so you don't have to keep coming back in and going over and over it. That's such a pain in the neck when you have to keep reapplying and going over things. I absolutely love medicine cups, Brittany. I do. And here's the really cool thing about them. They're reusable. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's wasteful. It's like, no, it's actually economic. Because what I'll do is, for a step, let's say, for example, I want to paint. When you're doing the tangram, I actually do paint in with my Mod Podge so that I can, you know, like my base coat is on there. Like I'll do a white base coat. And then, you know, for a dark purple wet, I don't want to have to keep going over it again. So I'll do a dark purple. I'll make up dark purple paint. And then I will let it dry. And look, you just peel it out. And you end up, this isn't quite dry, but you can peel this out and it's almost perfectly clean. Throw it in some soapy water, wash it and dry it, and boom. Guess what? Medicine cup over and over again. I've even done it for my epoxy. I've actually used it, used them several times on my epoxy. And I'll let them dry and then I'll crack it out. And as long as the thing doesn't crack, it's still usable. All right. So I want to put in that nice thin line. And then I think what I want to do is I want to come in here with like maybe a gold. I got this pretty sandy, like this medium tone gold, and I'm just going to put this on. That's nice and dry. That chunky is dry. So I don't worry about kind of pouring it all over. I hope you can see. Ta-da! Look at that. See? It's pretty. Isn't that pretty? I also find the medicine cup easier to hold. And I really, really love that. I have so many times gone to use a shaker because bags, forget about it. Like I don't know. I wasted so much glitter, lost so much glitter with bags because the bag will just sort of go on its own, or there's like, what do you call them, punch holes so that you can hang them up, and it spills and pours out of the hole, and what a nightmare. Makes a terrible mess. Yes, it is. It absolutely is therapeutic. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's a great way. That's good. See, art is medicine. It really is. It's good for the soul. And plus we are making beautiful, beautiful things. I've seen some of the work that some of y'all are doing. And oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous. So don't be afraid. Expand and grow and try new things. And, you know, if it's not working, then, you know, find something else. But never say never. Never don't do something new because you're afraid to try it. You could be a natural at it. And then sometimes it does take practice. It does take a little bit of time to develop a skill. So, you know, it's like eating vegetables. Try it once, and if you love it, that's awesome. And try it again if you hated it, because first time you didn't know enough or you didn't have enough information. There's so many groups out there that are giving like really bad information to people on stuff. So it's frustrating. It's annoying. It's frustrating for people Just keep trying. If you really want to master a technique, keep looking. I like this. This purple's pretty too. I'm really becoming more of a fan of the ultra fine glitters. I really am starting to like how they work more. Before I was like big in the chunky. I love chunky glitter. I thought chunky glitter was awesome. And now I'm finding there's so much nice fine glitter out there. Again. So just, I mean, it's pretty simple, right, guys? I mean, it really isn't, this isn't rocket science. It's not hard to do. It's a little time consuming because you're essentially hand painting, you know, with the Mod Podge or the Tack-It. But it really isn't difficult to do. And color is everything. Color is everything. So when you're looking at your colors and you're deciding how things are going to work together, you want to kind of be mindful of that. And there are some people that, you know, don't feel comfortable with color, or hey, does that color go together, or do they work? You can pick up a color wheel pretty inexpensively at, you know, because quilters tend to use them a lot. Color wheels to see, you know, like, okay, do these complement each other? Are these opposites of each other? And sometimes that can be really, really helpful when you're deciding, well, what colors do I want to actually do on a cup? All right. So it'll move along quickly. You can make your lines super thin. You also don't need to make your lines even. That's another point that I like to make, is that so when you're coming around and you're you know, let's say we're going to split this section in between the mulberry and the purple. Well, maybe I just want to have like a really super thin line in one spot, and then I want to have like a really wide part of that same color. I hope that made sense. You can do that. You don't have to only have it be the width of your brush. I've even done things where I've come in and done gotten a wide brush and a thin brush, and I'll go through and I'll do it differently that way, or I'll use the same brush and do like a double line, whatever you want, whatever, as I say, whatever makes your heart happy. Channel your inner Bob Ross. There are no mistakes. You can always fix something. I have to honestly say that in the time that I've been making cups, I have never had to strip a cup. Now, I'm not saying that they all came out the way that I wanted them to, but I found something that I could do with them. I could change it. I could sand the heck out of it and kind of do something completely different. You have the option. You have the availability to be able to do that with your art. So don't be fearful of making mistakes, because that's how you're going to learn, and it's how you're going to grow. I hope you can see this. Like my camera on my phone is looking like really fuzzy. I hope this is clear. I love Bob Ross. He's like one of my big inspirations. Actually, he's one of the reasons that I started painting. His predecessor, the old German guy, I can't remember his name right now. Again, you know, when PBS first came out with that I can't remember what it was called, the name of the paint series. But I used to sit and I used to watch it. Because as a kid, we weren't really allowed to watch a whole lot of TV. And everything had to be parent approved. There weren't a whole lot of channels either. It's not like it is now, where the kids have all these choices. And I remember watching it and I'd say, I want to be an artist. I want to be a painter. So channel your inner Bob Ross. There are no mistakes. You can do it. Okay, so we're just slapping the glue on there. I do suggest when you're doing, try and, you know, like if you know you're going to be using a color again, then go for it and do it. But if you are, when you're done with that color, make sure that you kind of almost immediately clean up your paper or switch out papers. I know some people, like sometimes you'll have like multiple pieces of paper. So, you know, like when you're doing green, you know, and you've got your green paper and then you just slide it off to the side. It will save you from ending up contaminating a whole lot of your glitter, which is awful. All right. Okay. Now we're starting to get a little tricky in holding this because I've got a lot of wet stuff going on down here, and naturally my hand wants to kind of just grab there. So I'm going to come up here and try and not make a mess out of things. And for those of you guys that are just tuning in, make sure that you don't have to stick to the lines. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. And also, when you're doing this, I always leave the big part till very last. And the reason that I do that is because if I want to change something, I can, you know, it's easier to change things before you get like everything else all colored in. So much easier that way. Okay, so this one I'm going to actually try and use some of this crystally stuff. I don't know how it's going to work out. It's holding. Woohoo! Yeah. Oh, it's such a great color. Such a great color. Now, y'all remember when you're charging for stuff too, if you're using what's called premium glitter, you need to up, you know, so you got to up the price a little bit for that to cover your cost. I know it's super popular. I think at certain times, I think what ends up happening is somebody will make something with a glitter, and then they'll post a picture of it, and suddenly everybody's like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that glitter. I need that one. Which is what happens. So that's why it sells out. I really like this brush too, to give me lines, because it's not like a super fine line. It will actually, it could be fairly fine, but it also, like if I press down, what it does is it widens the bristles, so I can really get close to the other color without it protruding or going into that color, which is one of the biggest challenges, I think, when you have something that's got a lot of depth to it and multiple colors, and you're sort of doing the layering, like is what we're doing, where we have multiple colors and we're trying to build off those colors. You end up with like these weird little spaces in between. So that's one of the nice things about this particular brush, where these other flat bristle brushes, they're awesome, but they are a little bit tricky when it comes to getting things sort of right up tight up against that without making the line be too wide. Well, I hope you got it. I hope you got to order it. It's super good color. Great. So I decided that I was actually going to put a secondary line in between, because I really like this crystally stuff. It's just, I don't think that it's definitely like a two-coater. So I think what I'm going to do is, I have a fine purple that is almost identical to this color. It's very, very close. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the two of them together. Because if you can see here, I'm having trouble getting good coverage because it's just such a, it's wide. Like the pieces are not really grabbing in here. So the fine glitter will help that. Now luckily this stuff, this glue, this Mod Podge dries perfectly clear, and I'm not going to see that. You'll see the black that's underneath, which is okay. And this does require a little tapping. You notice I'm tapping them as I'm putting them down, because it's chunky. You know, like I said, it's medium chunky. It's grabbing okay, but there are some spots that it just isn't. And there's plenty of glue on here. So this is how it goes. So I can't decide for the next tutorial that I do if I should do a stained glass or do gnomes. I'm kind of maybe thinking gnomes, just because they can be used for Valentine's Day. What do you all think? Now at this point, before I go on any further, I do want to kind of come in here and I want to double check this section here, this midsection, and because I don't want this glitter going anywhere else in my design. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to check it and make sure that I do have really good coverage on here. It's dry, but I want to press down and make sure that none of it's going to pull off, because that, you know, that happens when you're dealing with like a chunky or a semi-chunky. This is actually adhering really, really well. There's a lot of fine glitter mixed in with it, and I like that because it fills in all the little gaps. I'm really loving that. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now I want to do like a whole cup with that. It's funny, 10 years ago, nobody would ever believe that I'd be working with glitter. But now I'm obsessed. I can't get enough of it. Okay, so now we need something to go kind of in between. So we've got this dark purple, we've got the mulberry, we're in the gold tones here, but we want to make sure that you know, you just want to stay within those color parameters of, is it going to blend, is it going to look right together? And I don't know yet, Brittany. I'm not sure. I'm trying to decide to do like a stained glass or do gnomes, the 3D gnomes. I'm more than happy to, like, I want to do what the group wants. I want to, and if y'all want to tell me to go, you know, go fly a kite and never do another live, well, that's okay too. I totally understand. Because my way's not for everybody. So, but let me know what you all want to see. Like a, yeah, I like polls. I like, you know, it's a democracy. We'll all vote, decide what you like, what you want to see, what do you want to learn. As an artist, a resin artist for years, I do a lot of different things. And I don't know if this group is strictly tumblers or not. Oh, absolutely, Samantha. No, I would never do them all together. I figure one a week would be good. You know, and then once I get those out of the way, I'll maybe do something like twice a month here. I think that'd be really cool. I have a couple of other groups that I'm trying to do lives into, just because I have a lot of free time, and I'm trying to rebrand myself, get a new business going, decide what I want to do. All right. Is it? That's awesome. Because I do a lot of stuff. I also make soap. I do candles, soap, and all that stuff is like, these are all things that just help us to expand our lines in our business and be successful. And I love the fact that this group promotes success and, you know, self-accomplishment, things like that. I truly love that. All right, so I'm putting on a really kind of super thick coat here of glue because I want one application to cover this spot. I've got two ultra fine glitters, so the purple and that goldy color that I'm using. It's funny, you know, I love to teach and I love to do stuff, Brittany, but I'm always kind of like embarrassed to show my stuff. I don't know why. Because I don't want to come off as being like one of those know-it-all people. But there's nothing that I do that I'm not willing to teach people. I really believe in, you know, there's enough space at the table for everyone, and we all have things that we're good at, and we all have things that we're not good at. So let's just help each other. All right, so now I have to decide, because this is like kind of a weird color combo thing that I have going on here, and I want something that's going to complement and blend at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this mix that I have here, and it's kind of it was actually a mistake. And I mixed. I was doing a cup, and I did not. Let me just see if this is going to work. It's not going to work. Okay. Oh, it will work. Okay, awesome. Let me see if this is going to work. This is another great way to tell. You see, I just put a teeny tiny bit down there on the bottom. And I just want to see, is that going to be enough contrast? There is a contrast. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about colors that look completely different in the container. And then when you put it on and they're side by side, so these two, they're completely different in the container. Hey, Heather. But they look very, very close. So this is where after you get your epoxy on here, you can use a paint pen and draw in between those lines. And what it's going to do is it's going to break it up enough so that there will be a complete it will contrast, but it will also be different enough that it's going to show up. So this morning I was working on stuff, and I didn't sleep good last night. It was funny. And I had my coffee, and of course I always keep I have my old coffee mugs that chip or something like that. I keep my stuff in here. And then I had another mug that was there, and I was kind of using it as a dump cup for glitter. Now, what do you think I did? I dumped my glitter right into my cup of coffee. I cried a little because I hate wasting glitter. I was more upset. I don't know. I'm pretty upset that I wasted a cup of coffee too. But yeah, this is what happens when we're tired and we're trying to craft and get stuff done, right? All right, so the bigger these geodes start to get and the more stuff you start getting on both sides, the more precarious it is when you're trying to grab a hold of your tumbler. So some people actually like to use one of these doodads. Hey, PJ. And they'll just hold this in their hand when they're doing the tumbler. And I have all the respect for you folks that can hold this and actually do stuff with it. Because I'm like a wild woman, it's just flipping all over the place. I feel like an acrobat. It's going everywhere. I drop it. I actually was trying to finish off my, one of the stained glasses that I'm working on. And I took it and I don't know what made me do it. I moved my hand and the cup went whee right across the room because I got glitter flying everywhere. Luckily, the cup is fine. I just had to do some minor touch-ups, but yeah, crazy. All right, so the other nice thing about ultrafine glitter is that, you know what? If you make a mistake, you just put glue over it. The glue, and I just call Mod Podge glue. I don't know what it is. It's like adhesive, I guess, technically. It will cover it. You don't have to worry about scratching it all off or anything like that. Make your life easy. Don't stress. No stress, no strain. Color is that on the side by itself? Oh, this one here? Are you talking about this, Heather? This is a color called Unfortunate Souls. It's flippin' awesome. Isn't that insane? I had to have it. I had to have it. I had to have it. Although it's like killer expensive. I don't like the fact that I had to buy as much of it as I did. I mean, I'm glad I got it. I'm certainly glad that I got it. But I would have maybe liked to have had a smaller amount to try it first. I mean, I do love it. But on the expensive glitters, you got to kind of be more discerning, I suppose. All right. Now I'm coming in and I'm actually trying to hold us. I'm going to fill in this space in between those two purples that I did. So, and I think you can see, like, I'm not like going from the middle all the way out. You could, you could, but I think this allows you to have a little more choice of what it is that you're doing. I'm also going to come up in between, and I'm going to try, mind you, to get a fairly thin line of color, like super thin. I don't want to waste one of my good brushes. Once I use glue on a brush, I won't use it on my paint. I'm trying to define a space in between these two because I really am not a fan of doing the marker pens on the top of the geodes. I know a lot of people do them and they look great, but to me personally, again, I showed y'all when I did this one. It looks like you drew lines on the top. And I really don't like that look. Personally, that's me. I don't like it. So this is why I try to define with the glitters. But I do want to do something that's just a little bit weird or different here, because I really want this to pop out. So I'm trying to get this glue on here so that it's thick enough so it's going to grab. Where are you? And I'm going to use silver. This one here. So what I'm going to do here is I don't want to use white on this. You could. But what I'm going to do is I'm taking, again, this fine glitter, and I'm just... Boom! You see that difference now? It just made the whole thing totally pop. Even though you would think, oh wow, that's all gold. Why would you want to add that in there? It just made the whole thing pop. I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't add it someplace else. But I needed that definition between those two colors because it was just too close for my liking. And again, what I like, you don't have to like. You do it your way. I'm glad you like it. And you can do your own too. Don't be afraid of doing this, Brittany. Jump in. Jump in. It's really, it's not hard to do. It's not, I promise you. You're going to get in there, you'll be intimidated. You're working with a bunch of different color. Draw it out. Draw it out like I said. Allow yourself the freedom to do that. You know what I'm going to do? Because I'm all right, that's on that side. I'm going to do something like totally crazy here. I'm going to come in, because I got this big gap right up here. If you see this, like this great big huge space, I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to be crazy. You can be crazy. It's okay. Believe me, we're all a little crazy. Allow yourself to be crazy. I will never judge a person for being creative, and you got to do what you got to do. But you see, I'm not married to my design. I'm willing to change. All right. There it is. I'm doing it. Remember, chunky glitter, tap it down. Boom. It's going to have that little bit of extra. So, that's all there is to it. I am using Mod Podge, but if you don't like Mod Podge, you know what? You can use Tack It over and over. I have used Elmer's glue. Yes, I have. I admit it. I have. I've used Elmer's because I did not have Tack It over and over, and I did not have Mod Podge. And I had stuff that I had to get done. And all I had was a gallon of Elmer's glue. Yep. You can use whatever you want. The only thing that does not work well, and I'm not saying it can't be done because it totally can, is spray adhesive. And the reason is because you're defining lines, so it's a little difficult to do that with when you're, yeah, right, I can talk. It's a little bit difficult when you spray your whole cup and then you're trying to define lines with that. Now, here, where I'm coming down, my design only goes part way. Like this color is only going to go down part way. But I don't like this big like glob of gold that I have going on here. This great big huge one. So what I'm going to just do is I'm just going to continue my line down just a teeny bit. And widen out this spot. It just becomes a little more cohesive. And then I'm going to take some of that, I need a light color because I have the gold. I have the dark purple on the other side. So I need something that's really going to like change the look. I could use the silver in there, but I don't want to have like a great big huge splash of silver on that side. So what I'm doing is I'm going back into that lighter brown color, the chestnut. And it pulls it all together. And then I have two sections. I have one here on this side and I have one on the other side that's bigger. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take, because I didn't want too much of this chestnut color on here. I think it will just kind of make it all, it just won't look, just no words today. Just won't work really well. So I'm just going to change it up completely. Yes, I'm using Mod Podge. What I used to draw it on was just a paint pen. Now I've done it with chalk too. Just regular chalk, because this is a matte. Actually, this paint that's down here that I painted my tumbler with is cheapo acrylic paint. Like cheapo. And I used a thinner brush. I was really kind of careful to make sure that I did not have a whole lot of streak marks. And, you know, you can actually use chalk on here. Awesome. I want to see it. I want you to post. Promise me you'll post it. I don't, you know, and even if you're not happy, which you will be, but if you're kind of questioning, hey, is it all right? Post it anyhow. Post it anyhow. How do you learn something? You learn by making a mistake. And if you have the talent to do these, which every single person does, you can make a lot of money on these, guys. A lot of money with these. Because the whole earth crunchy thing is really big right now. People like it. Just be careful with your colors. Don't do like the whole rainbow crazy thing. You could, I mean, you absolutely can, but you want something that people are going to like. And I don't know, for me, at least up here where I am, people wouldn't go for that. But these, this is one of my biggest, most popular things. And along with the gnomes and the stained glass, those are the ones that really, really, really do well for me. I haven't done Facebook Marketplace. That's something that I really want to try. I have an aversion to dealing with the Facebook. I don't even like being on Facebook other than the groups. Okay, so you see I just popped it with a little tiny bit of silver on the one side, just a little bit. I don't want a lot on there because I don't want to take away from my center design here. And I definitely don't want to take away from this cool color shift stuff. I wouldn't use the color shift to do a whole lot of it. I don't think. I think it will totally take over the entire cup. So if you're going to do like a whole cup with it, well, that's one thing. But if you're trying to use it, you know, in something that's got multiple colors, I think you'd have to be really careful with how you're doing it. But now you notice I put the silver away because there's enough silver on this cup. I want to stay more into the gold tones with this. And I just wanted this to sort of be random. I've done these too where actually I will do like my base coat of paint and then I'll just put in my geode and I won't do anything with the rest of the section, like the rest of the cup. I'll just epoxy it. It depends on your design. Usually the design is a little bigger, but it works. And it looks amazing. So these are very forgiving. And like I said, you can do this. I know you can. And I'd love to see them. All right. So I'm just going to kind of go around this geode thing. Here I want to decide what color I want to stick a little bit with what I had going on before, so I do want to do that gold. I'm going to do a second line around this when this dries. Make sure you get your thing. This would actually look really pretty to do like a whole cup with just splotches of that outlined and trimmed with either silver or gold or I think it'd look, whoa, that was, yeah, no, that's the right color. Okay, almost did it again, guys. Oh my goodness. Don't want to dump it in my coffee though. All right, we have just a couple more spots. But I hope you like it. Let me know when you all decide which of the other tutorials I should do. Those will be fun. I'm also a huge plaid fan. I love doing the plaid tumblers. It's like one of my favorite things. And I'm doing tangrams, and I love those. Those are just amazing to me. And I'm doing them with double-sided sticky tape instead of having to cut the vinyl, because I have trouble doing like the full wrap thing. What's my specialty? I can't honestly say. I don't think I have one. Crafting wise, art wise, I am very versatile. I didn't want to, I mean, I do so many different things. I do wood burning. I do, oh my gosh. There's like almost nothing that I don't do. But I've been crafting for like a million years, and I love to learn new things. I like to expand my knowledge base and just keep branching out. Okay, I have an answer for you. I think my specialty is I like to teach. So I always want to learn more and do more so that I can teach people things. That's probably it. And if I don't do it well, then I tend not to do it at all. So for me, it's kind of like one of those things. So I hope that made sense. All right. So I need one more color in that area. I think I'm going to go with gold again. No, I'm not, because I have that there. I think I'm going to go with this purple. It's just this dark purpley black color that's coming in. I'm also, I'm like a master herbalist. I do a lot with naturopathic medicine. I am also an end-of-life doula and grief counselor. So those are the things that I do. All right, so now we're going to do this little section here, and we're almost done. So I hope this was enjoyable for everybody, and you all are learning something cool and new. I love to make soap. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. However, I injured my back years ago, and I had to give up, mostly give up candle making. I had a business where I was doing candles for a bunch of stores, and I had to kind of quit because I hurt my back. My back just got super bad. So we reinvent ourselves. I think that's part of the thing. All right. Soaping's awesome. It's complicated because I do it with lye. Like I do the soap, the old-fashioned way, I guess you would say, with lye, which is the only way you can make soap. There are some artists that do like a melt and pour soap, which is super easy to do, and you can get really like decorative and fancy with it. But I like making my own just because I want to kind of have I want to have control over what I'm putting on my body, and I don't like, I have a lot of skin allergies, so that's why I started making my own. Now what I did was I mixed some purple and some gold together intentionally because I want to have a section that has like both purple and gold together. Although this doesn't have enough purple in it. So the gold is so bright that what it does is it takes over, which is perfect which is exactly what I want to happen here, is as I want, because I want something that goes around these color shift. This, oh, don't stick your finger in it. Oh, almost did. See what I mean about being precarious. All right, so this area here, I'm just going to bring it up. I'm going to show you this. I'm almost done with y'all. I'm sure you're getting the hang of it. I will post a finished picture for sure of the cup so that you can all see. When you're going around a section that has, you know, a different color and it's kind of separated from the rest of the group, make sure that you're getting right up against your glitter line. Because when I put this on, it's actually going to look weird, and you'll see the black space, the black paint underneath. So you definitely want to make sure that you get your line up nice and tight. This is going to widen that line, the first line that I did. But what it's going to do, I'm going to show you what. Don't hit that. I'll draw a line over that probably, or when that's dry, I'll come back in by drawing a line. I'm talking about, I'll come back in with the fine paintbrush. I'll draw a line down the middle with the glue, and then I'll put a darker color in between. Because when you see geodes, when you look at geode, like if you ever seen a geode after it breaks open, then what ends up happening is sometimes you'll see like this gradient of color where you'll have two different colors and they sort of blend together. And that's what I'm going for in that particular area. And then this empty gap here, I'm just going to put a little bit of the single color purple, the chunkier stuff, just so that there's just a little contrast with that color shift. That color shift is just absolutely incredible. I'm loving it, and I hope you got to order it because they run out so fast. So this is that, it's almost like the salt. It's not salt, but it reminds me very much of like salt. It even sounds like salt, like when it hits the paper. Now, if you can see it, it kind of stands up a little bit, and I like that dimension. Even, you know, when it's underneath the epoxy, it's not going to be standing up. It's going to be smooth underneath the epoxy. But it gives the illusion of like crystals coming up. And I love that. I think that that's really like super, super cool. Hi, Sheila. How are you? Scented soap is tough because when you think about when you're making your soap, Lisa, it's heating up. So the lye causes everything to heat up. It's hotter than boiling water when you think about it. So you're putting fragrance in there and it's burning it off before it even has a chance to get into the soap. I found I use fragrance oil. Make sure your fragrance load is high enough. So check with the manufacturer as far as like wherever you're getting your fragrance oil, your essential oils. Be very careful using essential oils and soap, even though people say, you know, like they say it's good. It can be not so great. Also, the fact that you can have skin issues from it. So, you know, I'm sure I don't need to talk to you about that. But yeah, soap. Making your own soap is amazing. I've been doing it for years. I totally love it. Now, like I said, I got into it because I had so many skin allergies that I don't know, I didn't want to have all that stuff going on. And even stuff as simple as like ivory soap. Ivory soap used to kill me. And I was like, I got to do something here. I can't to even deal with this. And I ended up making some soap, and I found that I didn't have the issues that I had before. So I'm like total fan of making your own. Carrie Swat Hun. Carrie Swat Karen. Sorry. I'm kind of got lost. I got talking about soap, not glitter. All right. So we're finishing this line on the geode, and I still am not sure if it's done. That's the neat thing about doing this, is you decide when you're done and when you're not done. I have another. This is like a super. I love this glitter. This is like one of my favorites. It's almost a gold white. It's very soft. When you think about like a chunky, I don't feel comfortable saying that in the group because it is not from Lindsay's website, and I don't know if that's allowed, so I'm sorry. But there are other people in the group that know. Maybe I don't feel right about doing a live in somebody else's group and then promoting somebody else. I'm sorry. You can PM me though, and I'll tell you. Because I don't know. Like I said, I'm still like relatively new to the group, and I'm not sure what the rules are as far as that goes. All right. Make sure you bang that really good when you're getting all your stuff off. All right. So this side of the geode, just double checking everything. It's pretty done. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. It definitely doesn't. It's just, you know, it's a respect thing for Lindsay and stuff like that. I don't want to be promoting other glitter companies, even though I use other, you know, I don't want to do that in her group. I don't think that's right. But it gives us all the more reason to have her get it, right? This winter weather is absolutely killing me. Like, I'm just like, my face just feels like it's gonna explode. It's so dry in here. All right. So this line here, okay, so one of the things I want to make note here is this line that's super wide. I'm gonna split it. I'm gonna split it up too, because it's too much color. like in my mind. So, but I'm not going to split it where I'm going to go all the way around. Like over on this side, it's thin. I don't know if you can see. Like on this side, it's not bad. But as I turn and I come around the other side, it gets super wide over here. I don't want that. I don't want to have that there, particularly up here in this top section. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to put like a little section. Don't do circles, guys. Oh my gosh. It's a geode. Geodes are not regular. They don't have perfect lines. They don't have, you know, they're not circles. They're not trees. So they're not going to have rings on them. So I'm going to break it up like that. I hope you're all going to try this. I hope you're going to enjoy it. If you're not, I'm sorry, if you're not feeling like you're being successful with it, message me. Let me know where you're struggling and where you're having trouble with it. I'm more than happy to try and walk you through steps to, you know, be successful within it. I really kind of want to take that color shift and I want to toss some down here in this other area too. I'm thinking it needs it. Because there's like this bottom section here. But I have to be careful because I've got it here. So as I'm coming around, I don't want to overtake the whole design with that. I really don't want to have that. Sometimes just a subtle little spot can make all the difference. Now, as your glue is drying, like little loose fragments or things that come like over the line, because, you know, you only put the glue around, but then you've got chunky and it's sort of poking over the sides, you can just take your brush, like I said, take a dry brush and just come in and just you just sort of shove it over so that the piece that's hanging over, is just within those lines that you did of glue. Because if it's not, there's nothing that's going to adhere it to the cup and you're going to end up losing it anyhow. So you might as well just either brush it off now or try and tuck it in so that it is part of the design. With chunky, what I found is that there's like space underneath the chunky, and if you're not getting it down and tapping it down really good and so that it's flat up against whatever adhesive that you have, whether you're doing your epoxy method or you put it on your tumblers, or if you are using glue, there's a little air space underneath of it. So when you put your epoxy on, what ends up happening is of course the epoxy kind of seeps in, and you know, sometimes it takes a few minutes for it to do it, and then you end up with either nasty air bubbles or it can even fisheye on you. So just keep that in mind. Also, when you're doing, I don't know how much experience everybody has, and this is more for the newer cuppers. When you're working with Mod Podge, my personal rule is I'm going to take this cup when I'm done with it tonight, and I will put on my, get the whole rest of it filled in. And then I will leave it sit. And I will leave it sit overnight. I will not start it, even though I could, you know, like, let's say by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight, it feels dry to me. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave it sit. Because Mod Podge underneath epoxy that is not, like, if it's not dry, is not good. All right. Now I want to just widen this up. Give myself like some weird little splotches over here of thing. And then I'm going to take, and I want to kind of take off some of that glue because I had too much. Come in with my gold again. All right. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Boom. And then I'm going to put, like, in this big blotch right here, I'm going to just put a little bit more color. I like the fact that with the fine glitters, you can actually overlay glitter on top of it. So you'll have your, you know, my gold underneath. And then what I'll do is I'll take some of that chunky crystally one. I really have no idea where I got that one. And I'll just take a little dab of glue, put it right there, and then pour some of this on top of it. It'll give it that neat texturized look. The final parts here are finishing up this line that goes around, and then finally I'm going to cover the rest of it. You could spray seal at that point if you wanted to, and then go in and do your finish, which is filling in all the rest of the open area. Depending upon the color that you use, it might take you 2 coats. I try when I'm doing Mod Podge or Tack It or anything like that, I really try hard to only need 1 coat. And the reason is because it gets almost like an uneven texture, or it could do like this really weird muddy kind of look to it. You've seen it. It's like it almost looks like oil slicks because there's so much glue underneath the fine glitter. So we want to be careful when we're doing that. And I hope that this all makes sense to everybody. So I will leave you all go now because, you know, I don't want to bore anybody anymore. But thank you all so much for joining me and letting me be part of this phenomenal group. I'm super excited to teach you all everything that I know. And believe me, that's a lot of stuff. You know, I want 2020 to be the year for everybody. Success is there. You know, if you work hard, you can have success despite what anybody else might ever say to you. And that is my wish for each and every person here. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like I said, let me know which one I should do. I don't know. I'm not sure. Stained glass or the gnomes as the next one. So I'm super excited. And thank you all so much. Lindsay Hoke, thank you for having such a phenomenal group. I love it here. It's just great. And all you ladies. And I think, like I said, I think I saw a couple of guys' names on there. I'm not sure. But thank you all for putting up with me. Oh, okay. That's it. I'll schedule the gnome then. I'll do it next week. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.